Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second workshop dubbed Using Data Stories to Make Data Driven Decisions. My name is Benadoche. I'm going to be the facilitator for this workshop. So, the objectives of this workshop are first of all, by the end of the workshop, you should be able to understand the difference between data stories and dashboards. So, when you read job description for a data analyst and they say that you should be able to use data stories, what are data stories? Interactive dashboard, what are they? But they said they will mention that you should be able to use data to tell stories. Okay, so by the end of the workshop, you should be able to communicate complex findings from the organizational large data or big data in a simple, easy manner. So this is the framework for data-driven decisions as an analyst. So anytime you want to help management make data-driven decisions, you use this framework and voila, it works for you. So the first thing we said last week is that you should define the business problem. So anytime management seeks to make data-driven decisions, they come to you as an analyst. The first thing you interrogate or ask, or which they will tell you, is the business problem, the need, or they've seen that sales has been dropping over the last quarter. That's a business problem. The drop in revenue or drop in sales over the last quarter. Okay, then you as the analyst listen to this business problem the business users are telling you, because they get worried about when the numbers in terms of revenue is going down, so it becomes a problem. So what do? You define the decisional goal. What is the goal? The goal here, the decisional goal management wants to make, is to increase revenue, because they're having issues with their revenue or their sales. It's not coming. So we know there are many ways to increase revenue. So maybe you increase profit. Okay, so you decrease you decrease your expenses the other way, vice versa. But we are using revenue as a case. Okay, so the decisional goal will be to increase revenue. Then when you have this revenue, what the next thing is to identify the data elements or sources of data or data subjects that you need to analyze to help management or senior management, decision makers in the organization, make data driven decisions. So last week we understood that at this stage you have to map out, if it's about revenue, where will data be coming from that will help us understand holistically what the issue is, what the business problem is, or how they can increase revenue. So marketing, sales, data from marketing, supply chain, HR, transportation, inventory. You identify all of these data sources or data subjects that relate to revenue. Every input that you can get as data, every input into the revenue generation that you can get data from, you outline them. Then when you outline those sources of data needed and the key data element you need from those sources, the next stage is to ask yourself what we call prescriptive questions. Why do I need maybe sales data from the marketing and the sales department? You write the why. So I would understand how sales trend or sales has been performing over the last 4 quarters, where the most sales have been coming from. Why do I need industry data about sales outside external data set? Okay, so I will understand if there's any external influence on the drop in the sales or drop in revenue. If you are into the beverages sector, chances are that when temperature is high, sales will increase. When temperature is low, sales will decrease. Okay, so you need all of this external data, internal data, government data. Maybe government even brought some policy if it has to do with e-levy, and or if it has to do with the fact that most of your products people can purchase through the use of mobile money or any digital wallets, and if there's any government policy that is there, so you identify all of this and ask yourself why do I need this data set, why do I need this data set, and all of this will let you validate or evaluate which of the data sources are really important or needed into you analyzing the data, getting the insights, and then communicating the insights onto management. Okay. Then, of course, if you're able to identify them, the next thing you have to do is you should be able to extract the data, get the data set, get the data you've asked your prescriptive questions about, extract them, then of course stage them onto your analytic platform. If it is Excel, if it is Power BI, if it is Tableau, if it is Python, if it's SQL, get it onto that platform, analyze it, and then when you analyze, so today basically you are at this stage, the last but two stage, where you get to we won't go into too much technical analysis. The emphasis is your ability to look at some, at least some two insight from the data, and then how you tell a story with that. Great. So today we are here analyzing the data and then using data story to communicate the insight from it. Those of us who were here last week, we asked that you get your data. Unfortunately, you had different business problems. We had different decisional goals, so we cannot be treating everybody's data set today. So I've shared on our community platform. I shared a data set there. When I'm done, my slides are just 8 or so. So when I'm done with the 8 slides, we are done with questions and answers. We'll make our hands dirty, do some catcher, analyze, do some graph, and see data story in action. Okay, you see data story in action. Okay, so let's quickly start. So why data stories? I'm not even going to define data stories first. The question is, why do we need data stories? Today, we've seen that business executives, the C-suite people, they constantly look out for simplified items. So anytime you get any corporate report, a business report, you will see that after the cover page, you will see what we call executive summary. And that executive summary, if you're a scholar or a lecturer, you would liken it to what we call abstracts. Okay, so abstract or executive summary is a condensation, a simplified one page, single page of about 100 or over 100 or 70 or 50 pages. So senior management don't have the laxity of time to skim through or do thorough reading of 80 pages. What they need is the summaries. What is this over 80 pages of document telling us? So for every executive level document, that's why we have executive summary. So executives, they seek, when it comes to data analysis or all the analytics or analyst roles in the organization, what executives seek from us is that they want our large organizational data set simplified just like that 80-page document with an executive summary that tells a coherent story, okay, to the business user. So they seek that data, large data, millions and millions of records of observation of data set simplified in about 2 or 3 KPIs, key performance indicators, one trend graph or two trend graph, two trend line analysis or time series analysis, two graphs. That's all. You have simplified the entire 3 million 1 gigabytes of data. You have simplified it in that manner. That is what they need. In fact, at the end of the year, what was our total profit? What was our total revenue? What is our year over year? Our year on year? These are what they are looking for. Okay. All right. Then again, why data stories are very important is that in an organization we have technical users and non-technical users. So take first line managers. The other time during our introductory lecture, I explained that there are 3 levels of management in an organization: the senior management with the MD and the board of directors, who always are interested in high level details. Okay, then we have the middle line managers who interpret the strategies senior managements make into tactics, and these tactics are passed on to first line managers who are operational. So they are into the operational activity. So if for you to become a first line manager, head of unit, head of department, you must be a technical person. So usually first line managers are the ones that have been the technical people doing A, B, C, D over time, and they get promoted to be the head. So dashboards are for such people who have technical understanding, technical know how to interpret the data, look at it, use the slicers and the dice, like slice and dice the data set, use filters and all of that. First line managers and team leads and heads and all of these people have technical understanding of how to navigate dashboards. But middle level managers and senior level managers who when you were studying your Power BI and your Excel, they were not there. My lord, we were not there. They were not there. So these guys and investors, these are shareholders, investors, business users, they are non-technical users. So besides these managerial levels, we can actually classify people in an organization into two categories: technical users and non-technical users. Okay, non-technical. For the non-technical users, they need to and they need to have the data set, the insight from the data communicated to them in a simple and easy way for them to understand. The business users also want to understand the different actions that they can take, what we call data driven decisions, data driven actions. Okay, based on the insight, what can I do? So as a data analyst, when you are telling your data stories or telling stories with the data, just like a journalist, what you must do is that you make recommendation. Or just like an MBA student who is doing your dissertation, when you are done with it, based on the findings, what policy should be done, um what should researchers do? Okay, so you make recommendations for management based on the insights that you have acquired. Okay, you have derived. Great. Then again, business users want to know the whys. So next week, if you are not able to, if you're able to finish some little practical aspect analysis and then the data story, when we are able to do that next week, our our workshop will focus on root cause analysis to the data analyst. How data analysts, business analysts, finance analysts, supply chain analysts, business intelligence analysts, data scientists use statistical tools as simple as Excel, okay, to perform root cause analysis. In fact, next week we'll discuss two types of root cause analysis. The root cause analysis that is done by non-analysts, so the middle level managers and the first line managers who do root cause analysis and ask the 5 whys and all of that. We'll discuss all of this. Then, as for us, our root cause analysis is not just asking questions, um, 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 subjective questions. Why this? Why that? Doing brainstorming sessions. We go beyond brainstorming questions to further interrogate the data using statistics or statistical models, okay, or techniques to uncover why. So if sales dropped over the last quarter based on the insight, why did sales drop? So we as analysts, when you are presenting your data stories and recommendations to management, you don't just say, "Oh, sales dropped in last quarter." Why did sales drop? And if you just present sales drop last week, last quarter, you have been a dump data analyst. You have been a dump finance analyst or supply chain analyst. Or you should be able to explore, do what you call diagnostic analytics to find out why sales dropped last quarter. Then, when management looks at the data, you've already found out why, and you have explained them in your findings with your data stories. So they understand that A happened, B caused A to happen. Based on these two things that have happened and the causative factors, these are what you should be done. Okay, so you present management with a comprehensive or a well thought out, well planned, well orchestrated recommendation or actions to follow, okay, or to implement. Great. Then now we can move to explain what a data story is. What is a data story? The act of using data to tell a story, and that act is called data storytelling. Okay, data storytelling. Okay, so just like a journalist, just like a storyteller, a writer, an author who writes books, as analysts we also tell stories with data. Okay, and I think about last year, November or so, I was eyeing some World Bank projects. So I began this data story series. My focus on climate change. So I think along the line, I'll show you one of my data story graphs that I shared online. And after that, in fact, people from World Bank, climate change, right? My LinkedIn profile view just soared like this. They just kept coming to look at who is this young guy doing all of this, and nobody had done that in Ghana. So I analyzed World Bank data from 1960 or so to 2023, and I was telling weekly stories with that. Okay, so I'll show you one of them um, along the line. Okay, so what is a data story? A data story is a way of communicating statistical insights in a layman's term. The businessman doesn't understand standard deviation. So when you use standard deviation to identify the outliers and the safe nets, I don't want to go technical, but okay, I think I'm talking to people who are data enthusiasts. So that standard deviation technique can be used to identify outliers, people who fall outside three standard deviations of a mean, statistical mean. If I'm being too technical, pardon me. Maybe another day we'll do a workshop on statistics. So you can use standard deviation. So okay, based on this, these people fall within three standard deviation of the mean two people. Oh, what are you telling the manager? He doesn't understand what three standard deviation within the mean means. Two standard deviation within the mean means. One standard deviation within the, and you keep saying because you're a technical person, you are communicating technical findings to the manager or to the business user. No, he doesn't understand. You say it in a simple way. It means that we can target, if we do it like this, we measure our dresses. If we show our suits in this manner with this dimension, we can target 98.8% of the market in America. You have used standard deviation, and those of us who have enrolled on our data analyst um, course, you I think next 2 weeks or so we'll be doing business statistics. So we'll learn how you can use these statistical techniques, analyze the data, then based on the findings, you make these recommendations to management that if you want to target 98 or 99.8% of the market, this is how you should price your items. Statistics are very, very key. Very, very key. But you don't come and communicate those statistics to management. No, 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 no. You communicate the statistical to the findings in a layman's term, just like I just used standard deviation to do in a simple man. If you want to target 58% of the market, let's price our items like this. Then we'll get 58% of the market. So data storage communicate data easily and clearly to business users. It presents the data clearly to high level executives in a quick manner. Okay, great. So this, I wish, yes, you can see it. So look at this. These are multiple. It might look very small on your screen, but try to look at it well. Okay, I guess here you can see. I see it clearly here, so you should be able to see it clearly there too. Remember, I told you I was embarking on a data story project about climate change or the use of cleaner sources of energy in Ghana. Surprisingly, okay, I found that this modern Ghana, 2024 Ghana, okay, this 2024 Ghana, the population with primary reliance on kerosene for cooking. So sources of energy. This is primary. The people that when you go to their house, the main source of cooking fuel, okay, the main source of cooking fuel, I found out that um the population with, let me read the finance so that you get it. So the population with primary reliance on kerosene for cooking reduced to 0% in 2020 among rural and urban areas in Ghana with a lower middle income economic status. Okay. So the trend lines are here. So you see coal, you see charcoal, you see coal, you see charcoal, you see gas, you see kerosene. Okay. You see kerosene. So you see that kerosene line is dropping here. Is dropping. So in 1990, our source of fuel was primarily kerosene. Because when you look at 1990 for coal, nothing up to I think 2011, then coal um, as our source of energy was around 2011. Then look at charcoal. So this was my surprise. In another story, I presented charcoal. So historically, from 1990 to 2024, the leading primary source of cooking fuel for Ghanaian household, especially the houses with a lower middle income status, is charcoal. And this was surprising. I thought that, in this modern Ghana, people don't use charcoal like that. Okay. So you look at the trend for charcoal. So when you look at you get insight from the data like this. You don't just leave the graph like this for management or business users to look at it. The insight you derive from the data, write it, the most important one, the one that helps answer the decisional goal or solve the decision problem. So, in fact, for data storage, what you are doing is that you are not just showing graphs. So, the key thing we have to learn from here is that when you are using data storage to help management make decisions, you are not just reporting the insights with a graph or a trend line. You do what now we call narrative. So now most business intelligence tools like Tableau and Power BI allows you to do what we call narratives, explain or describe your findings in a simple and easy manner. So along the line, I am going to differentiate between a dashboard and a data story. Then know that today you can still achieve these two or use one stone to kill two birds. You can still use a dashboard and use the data storytelling strategy in your dashboard design so that you don't just present the charts and the graphs like that. Explain them, build a story. Let us know the beginning. Let us know the tension that happened, the causative factors, the mechanisms, what triggered what, or the whys. Then tell us the impact of the whys or the impact of the causative agents or the causative factors. Then, based on what you found, the whys, the whats, the how, what should management do? Data storytelling. Okay. Data storage should describe the data, just like you saw. If it were not that even clear, you're able to appreciate that there was a sentence that summarized the key findings from the data, which recommend showed management action. Let me see. So the other way, I think the other one that I focused on charcoal. Where is charcoal? This is charcoal. So for charcoal like this, if I'm focusing on charcoal, then it will mean that management, or this one, it will not be management, this one will be Ghana as a country. So the leaders of the country should put in drastic measures to ensure that there are renewable or alternative sources of energy. Okay, if they have to subsidize electricity so we can use ECG for cooking, They do that because the more you cut down trees and burn, you're affecting climate change. Okay, the ozone layer and all of that. Okay, so data storage should look like this: three simple steps. It should describe the data based on the analysis. What is the data telling us? Okay, describe it. Then explain any patterns. This is where you do the root cause analysis or diagnostic analytics. The whys as an analyst. Why is charcoal from 1990 to 2023 historical data? Why has charcoal remained the predominant key primary source of cooking fuel among lower middle income communities in Ghana? Maybe it's cheaper. Maybe, yes, it's cheaper. Maybe based on their location, they are close. You find out all of this. Okay. Explain any patterns using statistical tools, root cause analysis. And I said next week our workshop will be on root cause analysis, both the middle level and senior management way of root cause analysis, and data analyst or any analyst way of root cause analysis, which are statistical. We do diagnostic analytics in terms of root cause analysis. So next week our workshop going to be very, very interesting. Then when you're able to explain the whys, the patterns, why it is so, why kerosene dropped in 2020. So from 2020, it looked like um, low level income people were not using kerosene again as source of cooking fuel in their house. Why? Maybe government did put in some measures, free gas cylinders, Kufuor or JJ or His Excellency Professor Tamios. They put in some measures. Maybe so you do all of that. Explain the why. Okay. Then if it's charcoal, explain why charcoal is still number one since 1990 to 2023. Maybe the food vendors or it's cheaper, like I said. Then outline possible actions. What should management do? Should management reduce tariffs on electricity so people can have, or maybe even the lower level income people, they don't have access to ECG. So as they don't have access to electricity, chances are that they might not even use it for their cooking. Okay, so dashboards, data storage, dashboards and data storage, dashboard versus data storage. What are they? What are they? Okay, so a dashboard is one screen, a user interface. It's like a website that hosts charts, what we call visuals. So table visuals, charts, graphs, quantigrams, all of these highlighting KPIs or key pieces of information management or users are interested in at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year. That's the dashboard. So ideally, there are a dashboard is one of the three kinds of reports that are presented to management. Either they are business users or decision makers, management in the organization, or either they are technical or non-technical users. So we have static reports, we have interactive reports, and we have dashboards. So the static report is the one that maybe some of you or some people in your organization have been writing. They write a report, they copy the graph from Excel, PowerPoint, one, two, three different graphs from different places. Then they paste it down into PowerPoint or into Microsoft Word, and they write their monthly report. That's a static report. Then the interactive dashboard is where you give the user, the technical user, someone who is a first line manager, someone who has been trained with BI software like Excel for BI, Power BI for BI, Tableau for BI, Python for BI or analytics. So those people, you give them slices, you give them filters, you give them features to be able to slice and dice the data set or the data or the findings as you have on one screen. That's what we call a dashboard. So they're able to peruse or ask their questions, explore with different metrics. Okay, that is a dashboard. Usually, dashboards are, like I said, are automated and they deliver high level details to technical people. Okay. Then the person, because it's for technical people, the person using the dashboard has the responsibility to interpret it. That's the thing. So here lies in the distinction between dashboards and data stories. For dashboards, the user must be able to interpret what the graph is saying. But data stories, you, the analyst, must interpret what the graph is saying in a narrative. If you get this whole 45 minutes of talking is where I wanted to um, drive at. So with a dashboard, you have analyzed the thing, amalgamated all data sets, and you are showing the key things. With data story, you are not showing just the key things, you are showing three or key things with the narrative, with the interpretation of what the findings are saying, and of course, making recommendations. Okay. Okay. So that's it. That's the difference between data stories and dashboards. Thank you very much. My name remains Bernard Otre, the lead data scientist at ISML Analytics. We're a career based data driven organization. We train people in data science. In fact, any data science related role, we train people in that. Thank you. Please, any questions? Any questions? We have about 23 minutes. We'll use 10 minutes for questions and answers, and then we'll make our hands dirty in Excel.